She walked out without paying. He just smiled and swept the hair off the floor. The bell above the door was still swinging. The hum of the dryer filled the silence, a soft pop song playing somewhere in the back. One of the clients looked up, then down again, pretending not to see. Ryan moved slow, almost too calm. He gathered the wet clippings, tossed them into the bin, wiped the chair. The mirror in front of him still showed her reflection, the back of her head, fading into the sunlight through the glass door. It wasn't the first time someone had tried to skip out, but this one felt different. She'd been loud, confident, acting like the whole place existed just to please her. Spent the whole cut talking on her phone, laughing at something that wasn't funny, telling whoever was on the line that these small-town salons are never right. He kept cutting anyway. The scissors clicked steady, like a metronome. When she stood up at the end and said, "This isn't what I asked for," he just nodded. Then she dropped the line, "I'm not paying for that," and walked out. He heard the bell over the door. Then silence. He bent down, picked up a comb she'd knocked off the counter, and placed it back next to the mirror. His hands didn't shake. His face didn't move. A few minutes later, the next client came in. Ryan greeted her like always, calm, polite, nothing in his voice. He mixed color, brushed, trimmed. The rhythm stayed the same. Only once, when the door clicked again, his hand paused midair. That night, when he closed the shop, he saw her reflection again, not in the mirror this time, but in the wet print her shoes had left on the tile near the door. Small, careless ovals, pointed toward the street. He mopped them away, slow and even. But one mark stayed, a thin streak of purple from the cleaning dye. He didn't scrub it off. He just looked at it, then turned out the lights. The second time she walked in, it was a Tuesday morning, quiet, half-empty salon, low sunlight through the blinds. "Hey, remember me?" she said, like they were old friends. Ryan looked up from the counter. He nodded once. Sure. She was smiling, big sunglasses, a to-go coffee in her hand. The kind of confidence that filled the room before she even took off her coat. "I want something different this time," she said. "A warmer blonde. You know, natural, but expensive looking." Her tone was soft, friendly, rehearsed. He motioned toward the chair. "You can leave your bag there." While she scrolled on her phone, he mixed the color. The tubes lined up in a perfect row, labels facing forward. He reached for the usual shade, paused, then replaced one tube with another. Almost the same shape, different code. He twisted the cap slowly, as if testing how far calm could stretch. The smell of ammonia cut through the air. She didn't notice. She was laughing at something on her screen, tapping replies, sipping coffee through a straw. "How's business been?" she asked, eyes still on her phone. "Steady," he said. "Good. Maybe I'll post about you later. My followers love this kind of thing." He brushed the first streak of color through her hair, smooth, deliberate. "Appreciate that," he said. He kept working. Each motion was precise. Section, brush, foil, clip. The kind of silence that comes only from complete control filled the room. The sound of foil folding almost masked the faint tremor in his breath. She glanced up once, saw him in the mirror, and smiled like everything was fine. "You're quiet today," she said. "Guess I'm focused." A few minutes later, her phone rang again. She laughed loudly. Something about dinner plans, something about a weird hairdresser. He kept brushing. By the time the last foil was placed, her voice had softened. The smell of dye hung heavy, sharp and sweet. Ryan set the bowl aside, wiped his hands on a towel, and finally looked at her reflection. He smiled. Not the kind that forgives, the kind that remembers. He turned off the dryer. The air went still, heavy with that sharp, metallic smell of color. "Ready?" he asked. She looked up from her phone, bored. "Yeah, finally." He guided her to the sink, tilted her head back, and began rinsing. The water was warm, steady, almost gentle. It ran purple into the drain, a soft stream curling down like ink. She didn't notice. Her eyes were closed, her lips parted, still forming words from the call that had just ended. When he towel dried her hair, the color caught the light. A faint shimmer, cool, violet, clean. He combed it out carefully, blow-dried the ends, then stepped aside. "Take a look," he said. She opened her eyes. At first, confusion, then disbelief, then her voice, too loud for the small room. What did you do?" Her reflection stared back, perfect waves of lavender running through every strand. Not patchy, not messy, flawless. Ryan's tone didn't change. "I'm so sorry. I must have mixed the wrong tube. My mistake." "You call this blonde?" she barked. "I look ridiculous." He stayed calm. "You don't have to pay, of course. If you want to come back next week, I'll fix it free of charge. But I don't have another color available right now." Two other clients froze mid-conversation. The receptionist stopped typing. Silence, thick, electric. Her mouth opened, then closed. For a moment, she seemed to realize how many eyes were on her. She reached for her bag, moving fast, almost tripping over the mat. Ryan opened the door for her. "Take care," he said softly. The bell rang as she left. A gust of air lifted a few strands of purple hair from her shoulder. They floated to the floor, catching the light. He looked down at them, those perfect, glimmering threads, and swept them into the bin. His face was calm, but his pulse had found a new rhythm, slow, steady, satisfied. Behind him, someone whispered, "That color actually looks kind of amazing." He didn't turn, just wiped his hands and said, "Next client?" By the next morning, her face was everywhere. A video, 30 seconds long, her standing outside the salon, flipping her violet hair in the sunlight, saying she'd been completely humiliated. The caption read, "Never trust small-town stylists." He saw it during lunch break, wiping the color bowl clean. No anger, no surprise, just quiet observation. The comments were a storm. Half called her dramatic, half called her brave. Someone wrote, "But the color actually looks fire though." Another, "That purple's kinda perfect." He put the phone down and went back to mixing dye. By Thursday, new clients were calling. "Do you take walk-ins?" "Who did that lavender shade I saw online?" He said the same thing each time. "Sure, afternoons open." When she came back into his feed a week later, her tone had shifted. Another clip, this time laughing, spinning in a mirror at home. "I swear I hated it at first," she said. "But apparently everyone loves this color. My stylist messed up, but like, maybe on purpose?" She smiled, wide and careful. The comments exploded again. "Name the salon." "Who's your guy?" That tone's iconic. The salon stayed full for days. The sound of dryers, scissors, small talk, constant. Ryan kept his rhythm. Calm, exact, unreadable. When someone asked, "Did you see that purple video?" he just shrugged. "Yeah. Wild, huh?" At night, after the last client left, he cleaned the mirrors, one by one. In each reflection, the faint tint of lavender still shimmered from the fluorescent lights. Not real color, just memory. He could have corrected it, posted something, denied it. He didn't. Instead, he printed a small sign for the counter. "All services must be paid in advance." The next morning, a woman pointed at it and laughed. "Guess someone messed with you?" Ryan smiled, folding a towel. "Something like that." The hum of the hairdryer filled the room again. He let it drown everything else. The noise, the story, the irony. Outside, the wind caught a poster from the local paper. A photo of her, hair glowing purple under the headline, "Accidental Trend." A month later, the salon was steady again. The rush had faded, the hype cooled off. Just regulars now, the quiet hum of dryers, the click of scissors, the same soft pop station playing through the Bluetooth speaker. Ryan wiped down his station, lined up the brushes, the bottles, the foils. Everything in order. The floor smelled faintly of disinfectant and coffee. When the bell over the door rang, he didn't look up right away. Then he saw her, walking past outside, not in. She wasn't filming this time. No sunglasses, no coffee cup. Her hair was shorter now, but still had that faint violet glow under the sun, a ghost of color that refused to leave. She glanced toward the salon window, caught her reflection in the glass, then kept walking. He watched her go until she disappeared behind the parked cars. The street was quiet again. Inside, a new client sat down, flipping through her phone. "That's the place from that purple video, right?" she said casually. Ryan smiled. "Yeah, guess it is." She looked up. "You the one who did it?" "Depends who you ask." He sectioned her hair, clipped it back, began brushing on color. The same smooth rhythm, the same quiet precision. Outside, the afternoon light slanted across the mirrors, catching a glint of lavender in one of the reflections. When he finished, he walked to the counter, opened the appointment book, and said to the receptionist, "Put the next one down for Saturday. Payment up front." "Got it," she said. He leaned on the counter, looking at the mirror across the room. For a moment, it looked like someone else's face staring back. Calmer, lighter, no trace of the man who once swallowed humiliation without blinking. The dryer hummed again. The same sound as that first day, but it didn't feel the same. He turned off the light above his station. The mirror caught a thin streak of purple from the product shelf behind him. Faint, accidental, permanent. Ryan smiled once, barely there. The light caught something faint, a shimmer he didn't wipe away. Then he swept the floor.